military industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military industrial complex.
And we as a people will get to the promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Our email, shtf@topsbunker.com. Our website, topsbunker.com. Don't forget to check the show notes on your podcast player for valuable links and extra info on this episode. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We've got a great show for you. Tonight, we're talking about hardening your home, your stuff, and you. Because let's be honest, having a year's worth of food, medical supplies, and gear doesn't mean jack shit if someone can kick in the front door and take it from you. If you're not hardened from the inside out, if your home isn't layered like a fortress, and if you haven't trained your mindset to defend what's yours, you're just stockpiling for the next guy. And that's why we got former Air Force law enforcement and security expert Andy Blair on the show with us tonight. This guy is the real deal. It's a real honor to have him here. He's not just another quote-unquote expert reading off a checklist. Andy lives and breathes security. From locking down your perimeter and hardening your entry points to interior defense strategies, personal protection, and securing your preps, Andy's got the knowledge you need, I need, we all need to turn our homes into no-go zones for predators, thieves, and marauders. So if you're serious about protecting your people, your preps, your peace of mind, then strap in and get ready to take notes, because today we're tearing down the illusion of safety to make room for simple and effective changes that may save your life one day. This is Andy's first time on the show, and we really hope that it's not going to be his last, because what you're about to hear is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his extensive experience and knowledge. So let's get to it.
I'd rather sweat than freeze. That's my mantra.
Oh, I'm the exact opposite, man. I'd much rather be in snow all year round if I could.
I don't mind shoveling snow if I could do it wearing shorts.
You can always do it wearing shorts. You just have to pick your battles, I guess.
Might be subject to an involuntary mental health commitment. I've done a few of them to people. I just don't want to be on the receiving end of one of those.
So, Andy, tell us about yourself and why you're with us tonight.
So I am a native of York, Pennsylvania. York is, if nothing else, York peppermint patties started there. They're not made there anymore, but that's where they came from, in case you ever see one. About 50 miles north of Baltimore, 90 miles west of Philadelphia, the edge of Amish country. Born and raised there. At the age of 17, when I was graduating from high school, I did not want to become the head French fry maker at McDonald's, but nor did I want to go to college, as all my brothers and sisters did. So fortunately, my dad was a World War II veteran. So I did go in the military. I went in the Air Force, and I did do, back then they called it security police. Today it's called security forces, basically the same thing. And I was involved in nuclear weapons security and flight line security. I served in Montana, which I did see 47 below zero on a calm day. So there's your cold. After a couple years there, I consider it fortunate. I got orders to go to Korea for a year. So I was stationed in Korea. That was a different environment. And then I finished off the rest of my enlistment in New Jersey at McGuire. I got out. I did a little bit of truck driving. And then in 1986, I got hired as a police officer. And I did that for 26 years. And during that time, I did just about everything. Field training officer, I did that. I was a SWAT team member for probably 6 years. I became a corporal, then a patrol sergeant, and then eventually I became a detective sergeant. And so I did just a little bit of everything within that agency. That agency had about 50 officers. I think today they're up to about 85. So pretty, in our world, that's a pretty full department. I did a lot of trucking enforcement, DOT type stuff. And today I have capitalized upon that background, and I travel all over the country, which is why I'm here in Indiana doing CDL training for all kinds of companies in all kinds of states and locations. I have not forgotten my military background. It is clearly a part of what I do and who I am. In the weaponry side, a lot of people may or may not be familiar with all the weapons that we have access to and did carry. I was actually an M60 machine gunner. I carried that thing all over creation. That's the machine gun that Rambo used.
We called it the pig.
Yeah, nobody knows what it is until I say Rambo carried it. Then they know. It's 23 pounds, and you had to carry a spare barrel, and the ammo's heavy, and, it's fun to use, just it's not fun to carry. It's nothing better than shooting full auto when it's somebody else pays for the ammo. That's fun. We had grenade launchers, claymores, 81 millimeter mortars, 50 cal machine guns. We had all sorts of toys that perhaps a lot of people don't know that the Air Force carries. And we did do literally infantry training down in Texas at Camp Bullis outside of San Antonio. I did a lot of that. I enjoyed that background. I liked what I did. I even went in the National Guard 3 years. After that, I became an electronic warfare NCO in an Air Guard unit that did electronic warfare. I did that. But then I became an officer, so I kind of focused on that and did a lot of things, and certainly have a lot of exposure on the civilian law enforcement side, which is clearly different from the military side of things. And I did that for 26 years. They literally paid me almost six figures to walk out the door. They just wanted to get rid of the top salary guys. So we parted terms on good company, and I got a healthy head start on my retirement fund. I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment. I'm a firm believer in concealed carry in public. I am not a fan of open carry, even though it's legal in a lot of states. I'm not a fan of that. I do have my LEOSA card, so I can carry nationwide concealed as retired law enforcement. So I believe in common sense. I believe that the single best weapon you possess is between your ears. That is your best self-defense.
Amen.
Buddy, why'd you bring this guy on the show?
Man, I brought him on here because he is a subject matter expert when it comes to hardening a home. How to actually provide the best security that you can. And it's coming from a law enforcement perspective and not from the military. We've done a show on the military perspective, how we would harden our homes and how we do it. And he's coming from years and years of being in law enforcement and a detective to give his perspective on what he's seen on the other side. So.
Well, he terrifies me, and not because of all the stuff you just talked about with the weapons and the Air Force and this and that. He terrifies me because I used to drive big rigs, and if there's one person that I've ever feared in my entire life, it was the DOT inspector.
That's my email, DOT inspector. So
when I saw that, I didn't know if that was a joke or if I was like, is somebody playing a joke on me?
No.
I mean, honestly, in the trucker world, those guys determine your career.
Yes. I have a part-time job at a construction company, and I used to stop them, write them tickets, put them out of service. And so they hired me. So now I'm one of their fleet safety managers.
Wow.
And so I do work for them. I do work for attorneys on trucking defense. No, I don't help people go after trucking companies. I help defend truck drivers. You could say I'm like the former IRS agent that now helps you do your taxes.
So do you ever have to work in one of those stations?
Oh, yes. I still do that kind of work. I have companies that pay me to come out, do level 1 DOT inspections on their own fleet, treat them as though I was still an officer. I write up everything I find. I tell them how many tickets I would have written. I tell them if I would have put them out of service, how much the fines would have been, and I give them the information and I leave.
Is that right?
They do whatever they want with that information. I do not hold anything back. I tell them what I tell them. I find what I find, good or bad. Here is a survey of how well your fleet is doing in my eyes.
Nice.
I do have my Class A CDL, and actually I'm now a third-party CDL tester for the state. So I also do CDL testing for those wanting to get their CDL.
Now that my dreams of being a cross-country trucker are crushed. Oh, wow. Okay.
Everybody thinks when you're going to become a trucker, including me, you're going to be a trucker. You're going to get to see the whole country. And I promise you, you will see the whole country at 65 miles an hour.
And you get to stop at the armpit of the part of the country you don't want to see.
All the time.
Hey, lot lizards are people too, man. Yeah, they got to make a living just like everybody else, all right?
Absolutely.
So, buddy, take us through what's going on tonight.
All right, so we got Andy here tonight. He's going to speak on how to help harden your home up from any kind of invaders. He's going to come on and he's going to talk about his perspective from a law enforcement background.
I'm not military, and a lot of our listeners weren't military, so just keep that in mind.
Well, I got out of active duty in 1982, so, it's there. It's just a few years ago.
All right, Andy. So I'm a new homeowner. I have never owned a home before, or I'm in a new area. What should I do to make my house more defendable and to be less likely to be robbed by the burglars?
So, again, as my perspective as a police officer going to these calls, break-ins, thefts, what did I get to see a lot of? And surprisingly, one of the most common things was so simple, people simply leaving and not locking their doors. It's part of it is that simple. I don't know what part of the country everybody lives in. I don't know how trusting you are, but it's 2025 and it's time to stop trusting people. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Let's get on with it. If you leave your house, lock it. Unless you've got a team of ferocious dogs in there willing to eat anybody that walks in the door, lock your doors. This includes you leaving to run down to the corner store to get milk. This includes you're out in the backyard mowing and you leave your front door unlocked because you're out in the backyard mowing. There are people that are willing to pull doors, check doors, even during the day, and go in a house and take a risk that they can get in and get out and steal stuff simply because they found an unlocked door. So people need...
It's happened to me, yeah.
People need to take that seriously. If I'm out mowing my grass and I don't have that big of a yard, my house is locked. My vehicle in my driveway is always locked. It's never unlocked, ever, unless I'm in it. So a simple locking of a door, because an unlocked door is an easy access. Okay, so people lock their doors. Good for them. So you're a new homeowner, you have a new house. If it's a new house, contractors certainly don't use the highest quality hardware and locks because the less they spend, the more money they make. So if there are no deadbolts, you need deadbolts. Those doorknobs locks are too easy to defeat. A deadbolt is harder. I'm not saying it'll stop everyone, but it certainly will slow people down, and it becomes more difficult to force a door with a deadbolt. But then we get into, well, how in the world is this lock mounted? And a lot of the factory, or when you purchase, if you decide to purchase a deadbolt and install it, it comes with what I would call fairly short screws that go into some pine or some fir trim, and the lock holds, but the frame and the doors do not. I have rarely seen a lock fail, but I've seen whole door frames get kicked in because they're using 1-inch screws going into the side of the doors, holding the locks in place. There is a rather basic and easy solution, And that is go get some 3 or 4 inch screws and just simply replace them and run those screws deep into the studs. Make it harder. Make it more difficult to force the door. A lot of criminals are lazy. They're not willing to work hard to steal your stuff. And if it becomes hard, they're going to leave and go to the next house that's unlocked or has a cheesy lock and they can get in much easier. So do a little door fortification. If you have a door that has glass in it or a window of sorts, then that deadbolt should be what's considered a double cylinder, meaning if I break the glass and reach in, there's no knob there to unlock. I would literally need a key to unlock that door from the inside. That would be limited to a door that has some sort of glass or a window or something which may look nice, but could allow me to break into the glass, reach in, twist a knob, and I'm in. Those are called single cylinder deadbolts. There's no key in the inside.
That's a good point there.
If there is a key lock on the inside, then please don't leave the key in that lock as a matter of convenience for you to enter and exit the house. Again, you're just making it more difficult. You're going to make people work to get in. And the more work they have to do, the longer it takes, the more risk they have. And even the stupid criminals, after a while, this is just not worth it. It's taking too long. Neighbors could see me. A police car could drive by. I don't know. Let's go for the lowest hanging fruit. There aren't too many criminals that have master's degrees. So let's not give them too much credit, but let's give them just enough that they'll go for brute force and just basic breaking and entering skills. So all my doors that have any sort of glass in, unless it's the teeny little windows at the top, are double cylinder deadbolts. The doors that are solid, and that's where I'm going next, a solid core door, a metal door, or a solid wood door. Certainly, if you go to your favorite hardware store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, the cheapest doors are the hollow core doors. And that's fine for internal generally, but it is not a good external door because then I can defeat the door itself easier than I can defeat the lock. If I'm just a little bit of work, I can get a hole through that hollow core door and I'm probably going to get in. So exterior doors should either be metal would be clearly a preference. I have a house built in the early 70s and one of my doors is solid wood. It's not going to be easy to get through that door. But metal core doors, yes, they're a little more expensive, not crazy, but we're talking about your home. And for a lot of people, you know, the bug out thing is nice, but if you have nowhere to go or no plans that you can go anywhere, the worst thing you can do is leave your home turf and just be one of thousands clogging up the highway. They have no clue where they're going. If you don't have somewhere you can go, then stay put, but make your home base a little bit harder to get into. If anybody is determined enough, they'll get in, but don't make it easy. Make it a bit of a challenge. Alarm systems are great. There's an expense. In a scenario where there's civil unrest, you know, the police are clearly going to be tied up and busy. They get a burglar alarm. They're not going to have time to respond to that. The single best thing I think is camera systems which I have, which by the way, even though I'm not home, I can turn my cameras on and off from anywhere. I can watch. I do not recommend putting cameras inside of a home. They can be hacked. Now they can see what's going on inside. So my opinion, if you do the camera thing, exterior camera. Understand inside cameras. I mean, there's people that are good at hacking stuff, and if they really want to, they can get into that. Same with locks. The locks are starting to come out. They're e-locks. You don't need a key. You can remotely unlock and lock your locks that way. Other than your car door, I'm not a fan. I don't like something that in some way can be taken out of my control. So I'm fine with carrying a key. I've carried keys for a long time in my life. They're in my pocket. They're for my house. They're not for anybody else's. And I just like having that security of knowing there's no option for some not so well-intentioned 15-year-old that's good in a computer to figure out how to unlock doors.
I was in commercial construction for multifamily for many, many years. And the last place that we built, and we're talking luxury here, top of the line kind of places, we use the e-locks, where you just put the fob up to the thing and the door opens automatically. And the construction people or whoever, the company, to help with costs, they did not put deadlocks on these doors. And I can literally go as a worker there, and I had the codes for everything.
Sure.
I could go on my phone and unlock anybody's door from the parking lot.
Yeah. The police station, the last few years I was there, that is how we gained access. Now it's a police station, but nobody's there all the time. But yeah, it seems convenient. It seems great. But, as these new developments come along and homes and locks and doors and windows, just step back for a moment. And, is there any, in this world of electronics and people hacking and stealing, there's something to be said for the good old fashioned, simple lock that there is no electronic means to alter it, change it, or open. So, your home, again, in my opinion, should look like you or somebody is home when you're not home, because most bad guys are not willing to confront any homeowner or confront someone inside of a house. Clearly, some will, but I would say the majority do not want that confrontation. They want to get in, steal stuff, and get out without a direct conflict. As the Japanese said in World War II, they were concerned about attacking USA because there's somebody with a gun behind every blade of grass. There are certainly many homeowners who are armed. You don't know. Of course, that leads to, my opinion again, don't be plastering your vehicle with NRA stickers, even if you're a member. I have nothing against NRA. Or, gun right this and your house and, my house is protected by 357 Magnum. You're actually advertising you own weapons. And you know what? I might be more inclined to go in your house because you probably have a gun safe maybe I can get into. Don't advertise what you have. If you have it, don't flaunt it. Don't go online and post pictures of your various and sundry weapons cache, your storage room, your gun room. It should be kind of like privileged information. So that makes you an attractive target the more you advertise of what you have. If you have some coin collection that's worth a lot of money, be careful who you tell and how you let it be known what you possess. It is not uncommon that relatives will steal from other relatives. That happens more than you know.
Many years ago, I had a very cool looking gun wall, let's put it that way, and just stupidly took a picture of it and sent it to a friend saying, hey, check out what I built today. I had all the magnets and all that stuff. He posted it online. And I was like, I can't believe this. Everybody knows exactly where my stuff is. They know exactly what it's worth, what I've got, everything.
And if I knew you had a lot of valuable guns or just a lot of guns, why should I go risk breaking into a gun store with burglar alarms? And then I go on Facebook and I see Keith is on vacation and he's posting live. I'm in Acapulco, Mexico at a restaurant. Well, guess what that means?
That's right.
Keith isn't home. His guns are home. He's not. Hey, open season. I probably can take my sweet time on doing what I need to do to break in. These people that post on vacation that they're not home, they're enjoying food in Acapulco or wherever. It's all about ComSec, communication security, operation security, a little bit of military jargon there. But, there's no reason to let the world know that you're not home. When you get back from your trip, go on there and say, hey, we had a great time. We ate at this restaurant, but now you're home. So don't advertise that you're not home, because then even your best methods of deterrence and security, they have all the time in the world to attempt to defeat them and go around them. They're not worried about having to deal with a confrontation.
Well, according to the liberals, my guns will defend themselves. I don't even have to be there.
Mine do.
They will self-fire,
Yes.
and you're responsible if they do that.
Dang it. I still can't win.
That exact kind of thing actually happened to Missy when she was stationed up in the DC area. She had been up there as part of a special missions unit, and one of the girls had, I guess, inadvertently, posted something online, and they're pretty sure they knew exactly who did it, but the house was broken into, electronics were stolen. She received a saber as an award from one of her units. That saber was stolen. It was really odd, like the stuff that they stole, because it was almost as if they knew exactly where everything was. So yeah, it happens.
Right. So alarm systems are great. You're probably going to pay, but there are some systems. I own one. It's called Arlo, ARLO. That is a camera system that does not require any subscription. Now they have a paid option, but you don't have to use it. And yet my cameras can be turned on remotely, and it keeps the recording for 7 days. So if someone does break in, I can download it. I have 7 days to get it off the system before it disappears. So there are some options that don't require, other than the initial expense, and they are Wi-Fi, don't require some paid service. Nothing wrong with paid services, nothing at all, but it is a cost that may or may not be necessary and so when my cameras are on, if there is motion detected at 2 a.m., I will get an alert on my phone, and I can go on live. It'll record a 30-second shot of whatever it is, but I can also go on live and look and see what's going on.
And in most cases, you can actually interact with whoever's out there.
I can talk to someone if I choose to. If I had a scenario that was along the line of someone committing a crime, and here I am, probably, I don't know, 800 miles from home. Do you know the non-emergency phone number to the police dispatch where you live? Because if I call 911 in Valparaiso, Indiana right now, I'm not getting 911 where I live. So if I look on my cameras and see somebody breaking into my house, and I call 911 here, I'm going to get the Indiana police, which that doesn't help me. I live 800 miles from here. Every dispatch center has a non-emergency number. I can call that number and get the 911 center. They even answer the phone 911, but it's considered a non-emergency line. So if I know the number, I can call there direct from Indiana and get county control and get the police going, dispatched to my house. But if you're on vacation and something happens and you don't know the number to your local 911 center, I guess you can just watch them break in, steal your stuff, and go. Who are you going to call?
That sucks.
If you don't know Google
local.
it, but that's just going to take time.
And as an officer, I had occasion to call that number. So fortunately, I'm good with numbers. It's a number I'll never forget. And so I know that number well, and I could call it immediately, knowing it would be a waste of time to dial 911 when I'm here, not home. And a lot of the police departments, like the one I retired from, there's nobody there.
Oh, there's no more desk sergeants anymore?
Well, during the daytime there would be. But after 8 to 4, 9 to 5, there is no one there. And if you call their main number, you'll just get a recording telling you if it's an emergency, call 911.
Oh, and I know of smaller towns around where I live that 3 or 4 different towns in the county will share a line. So you'll call, and whoever's on that night, and they might run, 2 nights a week, they'll have it, and another 2 nights a week, another town would have it.
State police are the only ones that have a 24/7 desk officer.
Okay.
But all the areas that's not served by the state that have individual agencies, 911 center is your only option to get an immediate police response.
So to clear it up then, what exactly is the non-emergency number? Where is it going, and what's it used for?
It is exactly what it sounds like. Its initial intent was you need to call the 911 center, but for non-emergency reasons. You need to call an update in the event of a break-in at your business. Who do they call first? Who do they call second? Who do they call third? That sort of a thing. That's the reason for that number. However, that number is answered by the people at the 911 center. And if you call this non-emergency number and say, hey, I have an emergency, you are talking to the same people that answer the 911 number.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
It goes to the same place. But if you call in the middle of the day and say, I have initially they're going to ask, do you have an emergency? No, this is non-emergency. Okay, fine. We'll deal with that. Emergency? Okay. Probably send you over to the dispatcher that covers the area that you live in. There's different dispatchers that cover different areas of the county. You tell them where you live. Okay, that dispatcher will handle your call. They'll just ship you over one time. So not even calling the police department is beneficial, say outside of the Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, 9 to 5. You've got to know that outside or that non-emergency number, which I know only too well. The other reason to call that number is for those that care. That number does not track calls. 911 calls are tracked. And when someone calls 911 and hangs up, and you'd be surprised how often that happens, we would ask the dispatcher, what's the call history from that number? And they can say, we've had 4 calls from that number in the past 2 months. Every one of them was a domestic. Well, guess where we're heading? Another domestic. So
Nice.
If you're concerned about the 911 center tracking the reason for your call, you can call the non-emergency number. It does not do that.
Well, we don't have a police station. We just have the county sheriff, and
Right.
And I think they're really spread out. But I had got delivered. Actually, somebody was making delivery, went to the wrong place, and the old guy that made delivery said, "Yeah, I also work for the sheriff's department. I just do this on the side for extra money." Actually, he wasn't making delivery. He was a locksmith. And he said it's hard to get the sheriffs. He said, if you can't, if you have some kind of emergency, he gave me his card. He said, just call my number. He said, if I can't help you, I'll get somebody who can.
Yeah. And so if you live in an area that truly has that countywide police service via sheriffs, so be it. Where I live, there's multiple different police departments that cover multiple different jurisdictions, and you have to know which one to call.
Right.
And when
Right.
you call, they ask, where are you? What is your address? What is your location? So if you ask for the wrong police department, they'll say, nope, that's not the right one. You need this department. Countywide, it's all the same. It's all one. You're perhaps a little easier. There's no worried about. But in my case, I say, look, I'm not home. I'm 800 miles away, but my cameras are going off at my house. Here's my address. Nobody should be there. Send the officers. There's my,
Nice.
distant response to what's going on. And I can capture that video. I can save it. It's actually, even some of the inexpensive cameras today are pretty good. I wish the bank cameras would catch up to this. Some of the bank cameras are crappy. And yet, if I want good video from a theft, I go to a convenience store. They have good cameras. Banks, it's like, come on, guys, you're a bank. But so, the alarms, and if nothing else, you can go a little cheap. You can buy decals. You can get them on Amazon or probably eBay or other places indicating you have an alarm. Whether or not that's true or not may or may not be true. But again, you are putting a potential criminal on notice. You break in here, it's going to trip an alarm. Police are coming. Are they willing to take that risk? You're going to lessen the risk. You're not going to completely stop it, but you are going to lessen it by making your house, your home, your business unattractive.
So they're basically if they're making the choice of if they do hit that home with and there's an ADT sign or something out in front.
Correct.
Or some kind of. So they're saying, okay, well, I'm going to hit this home, but now I've only got what.
Right.
Yeah, whatever the response time would be. So I got 3 minutes, or 4 minutes to get in and get out. So,
and if they're doing this on a random whim, They do not know that this house contains a gun collection. They do not know this house contains some valuable jewelry, coin collection. It's just a random thing. They're much less likely to attempt that because it's going to take them several minutes to even begin to find stuff. People don't steal TVs anymore. People don't steal stereos anymore, at least very rarely, because they're cheap enough and you can't get anything for them at a pawn shop. Small stuff, jewelry, valuables, guns, of course, but small things that have.
So from your law enforcement background, and this could just be a quick answer, I don't know if there is one. If you had, let's say, your stash of guns, legal guns, stolen, what type of legal trouble? I mean, what are the ramifications of that? I mean, on your end,
there aren't any.
They're just gone. That's it.
No, I mean, there's no.
Are you
crime.
responsible for them?
As far as if they're criminally used subsequent to the theft?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you're responsible for those guns once they leave your possession.
No. We had a gun store robbed, and he had a local alarm, not a monitored alarm. And local alarms, meaning like a siren or, whatever, it's kind of like car alarms. People don't call in because they hear an alarm going off. They call in because the alarm's been going off for half an hour and they can't get back to sleep. That's why they call. So,
right.
Not a good idea to rely on an audible only alarm. This gun store had an audible only alarm. They cleaned the place out for years. Every so often, all the guns were entered in NCIC is stolen. Every so often, a gun would show up in Minnesota, Michigan, California. Because it was in the system, it'll stay stolen. But you're just not liable for something that is stolen from you and then subsequently illegally or improperly used. You didn't offer the guns. You didn't give them the guns. You didn't do a straw purchase for the guns. They were literally stolen from your house, and you have a police report to back it up. Now, if someone does not report something like this, if they have a reason to not report it, maybe they don't legally own a gun. Maybe they own a fully automatic weapon and they don't have the proper class of license to own it. I guess you got to make a choice. You're going to report that theft? Well, what if that gun is used criminally and there is a way I can get gun history ownership. I can get it from the ATF, by the way. Who owned the gun? And then I call you up and say, Keith, we have a fully automatic weapon that is in your name. It's not listed stolen. Are you missing this? What's going on?
Or your fingerprints could be on it, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So, someone takes a shotgun and saws it off, but then it gets stolen. So, depending how that weapon was purchased, I know where I live in Pennsylvania, long guns, any long gun, can be purchased resident to resident, completely private, no gun shop, no background check, no nothing. I could go to a yard sale in Pennsylvania and buy an AR-15 and leave with it legally. I can't do that with handguns, but long guns. And so, coincidentally, every long gun I own was privately owned. There is no government record of any transaction showing I'm the owner. If there's any record at all, it'll go back to the previous owner, but not to me. And I have been offered receipts for those purchases, and I declined them. So I own them legally, but there's no record. Other than I have the serial number, clearly. But I can show pictures, they're mine. But there's no, unlike a vehicle that has a title and registration. The alarm systems, the stickers, you can go as far as little as you want. It is a deterrent. People can be turned off by, hey, this ADT system here, let's not go in here. They don't know whether or not you have it. Making your home make it look like someone's home when there's nobody there. So if you came up to my house at 11 o'clock tonight, the curtains were drawn, but you saw the bluish glow of a TV set on, what is your initial assumption? That I'm sitting there watching TV. are you inclined or less inclined to attempt to break in if you have some legitimate and reasonable belief that someone is sitting right inside that door? And the answer is no. So who goes away and leaves their TV on? Well, not too many. Maybe that's something you should do. Honestly, how much electricity does it take? It isn't that much. I think it's cheap insurance. Some people will turn a radio on and leave it playing loud. That's nothing wrong with that. Use talk radio, not music. But how about a television? You can see the light from the street. You can see the flickering. They even sell devices that mimic a TV being on that you can plug in. You can get them on Amazon. And it looks like a TV screen flashing and pulsating. And it's not even a TV. It's a device that projects a light that looks like a TV.
That's awesome. I got to get one of those. That's cool.
So timers, of course, are good. Neighbors helping. Hey, I'm going away for a week. Nobody should be at my house. Nobody. And except my daughter, she drives a maroon, Chevy van, something along those lines. Police, some departments will do vacation checks. That's kind of limited on whether they will or won't check on your house. But again, making that home appear lived in. Leaving at least, if you have a car inside of a garage and you're going away, maybe park it outside. So there's a car in the driveway. It's not, it's not inside where you can't see it. Social media, again, not advertising that you're not home. People do that so often. So often do I see people. I know somebody I know, retired officer. He's in Ireland right now. He's been posting nonstop from Ireland. Well, I know he's not home. I know he's a retired officer, and I know he has guns. I know that. Maybe not the best thing to do with your home security. Inside your home, as far as maybe some things you can do, what are the rooms that the bad guys never or rarely go into or spend any quality time in looking for your stuff?
Bathroom
And kitchen. They just don't go there because nobody keeps anything in the bathroom or kitchen of any value.
If I was a thief, I'd go for the kitchen first, get me some fried chicken, then move on from there.
All right. Well,
but that's just me.
I would go for the freezer because I know people who put stuff in the freezer. They'll stick cash in a deep freeze or something in a washed out ice cream tub or something. You're going
to spend a lot of time looking for that stuff.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
Most people don't do that. So most people, they want to get in, they want to get out. Low hanging fruit, bedroom drawers, jewelry chests, gun cabinets. Right there is where it's at. That's the easiest and quickest thing to do. They're small. You can get out. You could spend quite a bit of time going through a freezer and checking every individually wrapped item or packaged item or go through a shelf. Sure, they make cans that are fake that you can put stuff in. They make wall outlets that are fake you can put stuff in. There's all sorts of that stuff. But it's truly so few and rarely used. You could spend an awful lot of time, and not many people are willing to spend that much time looking. And having said that, again, one of the best places to hide things is in plain view. Literally, instead of trying to hide an object, make it look like something else. Maybe take a tub of sorts and mark on it dog food and cut it so it completely will cover, not a huge, but a small floor safe, and push it up over top of the safe. So a quick open of a kitchen door looking into a closet or a pantry, I see all this canned food and box food. Down there at the bottom is one of those plastic totes pushed up, against the wall, and it says dog food. And that's not what's in there. But it sure looks like it.
That's a good
There
one.
are other things that you can do to disguise, to hide things. And something you could do is, if you have a cheap or inexpensive, something maybe our grandparents had, a little metal box with a little key that they would keep their car titles and house titles and maybe a little money and jewelry. If you have one of them and put some stuff in it that is really of no great value, put maybe just a little bit of money in it and kind of leave it kind of where it probably would get found, and let them steal that thinking they've got thousands of dollars when really they have a bunch of junk mail and about $3 in currency. And again, low-hanging fruit, not hard to find. They think they hit the jackpot until they get 3 blocks away and beat on it with a hammer and open it up and find all your junk mail and 3 $1 bills. And they didn't find your true stash.
I actually have one of those. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it.
Keith, did you say that you would, if you broke in, you would get a snack first? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for something like some leftover pizza or fried chicken, something quick. I can just grab it and eat it while I'm looking through drawers and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're the kind of guy that's going to get caught.
I don't know, man. Because if I bust into a place and I look and I'm like, those cookies look pretty delicious, I might grab 1 or 2 on the way.
You would. I know you would.
And you don't
especially
remember
if it's Snickers.
You don't remember that? What was that show, man? With Home Alone. You don't remember that? That's where it all went south. Is when they started trying to take Christmas cookies and stuff.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry, Andy. We're just doing some stupid stuff here.
No, that's okay.
What you're talking about is awesome.
I like stupid criminals. I'm just tickled to death when they rob a bank and they leave their ID card with the teller. Thank you. And I've had that happen. I've had people, the teller wanted to see ID and the guy got it out and gave it to her. And then he did take the money and run. We got your ID, bud. So good for you. Another area that is typically unmolested, unchecked is an unfinished basement. Once, if they choose to go down there and it's not finished, it's usually, they don't waste any time. You got a bunch of stuff, you got a bunch of junk, you got your fishing rods and snowshoes or whatever, kayak paddles. It's just not interesting to look at. And again, you can keep boxes of things you have purchased in the past, things like shoes or, I don't know, a backpack, something that's not of significant value. And you can use those items to store stuff that has great value, but stuck up on a shelf, it just looks like a box that sneakers came in, a box that hiking shoes came in. You bought a new faucet for your bathroom sink, so you kept the box. And so you stick and, you put faucet parts on it. This stuff all blends into the background. Few people have the time or are willing to really sort and dig through things like this. They're going to give it a quick look and they're going to go back up the bedroom dresser drawers, any open closets, looking for guns laying in the corner, looking underneath the pillow, underneath the mattress. They're generally looking for low-hanging fruit, the easy stuff they can quickly grab and go. They're not going to spend quality time. So you leave them a couple of morsels out there, that little cheapy lockbox that has a little cheapy key, and they think when they shake it, it sounds like it's got a bunch of stuff in it, and they stop what they're doing and they're happy to get that and they leave. And basically they got nothing. And you have given them a little tidbit and they left until they get it somewhere. It ends up they have nothing and they quit going through the rest of your house hoping to find stuff. So evade, conceal, hide, but don't think that stuff in plain view is a bad idea if it's just disguised. It's not what it truly appears to be. You almost have to be a little bit of a magician and hide stuff in plain view. And generally, they're in a few minutes and they're out. And if whatever easy things they can grab and take, they will, and they're gone. If you make them work, not too many are willing to work for stuff. Because if they were willing to work, they'd have a job, they wouldn't be stealing to begin with. You can do these things. You can take some steps, whether it's a simple measure of just hardening the place up to make it less hospitable to get in, make it harder to get in, make it uncomfortable to get in. And ultimately, but if they really, truly want to get in, they'll get in. There's nothing that'll stop a truly determined thief. But those kind of people usually know what you have, and they know it's there, and they're willing to dig for it because you have told people. A friend of yours posted a picture of your gun collection online. Well, now somebody knows what you got, and they know you can't hide that in the bottom of a small dresser drawer. You've got a cabinet, you've got a closet. I go through a house, I find a locked door on a closet. I'm going for it. People don't lock closet doors. You got something valuable in there. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to smash that door thinking this is where it's at. So, there's your don't advertise. Don't tell people what you have. How many times have I taken reports and it turns out a relative, a grandson? We've had that kind of family members, people on drugs. They need money to buy their stuff. They'll steal from you. They'll murder. I had a case where a girl was taking checks out of grandma's checkbook, the back of the checkbook, forging them and cashing them. Grandma eventually caught on. Grandma confronted the granddaughter, adult granddaughter. You either pay me back or I'm going to the police. Grandma loved Wendy's chili. I mean, she really liked it. This girl worked in the ER at a hospital. She got morphine. She injected the chili with morphine, gave it to grandma. Grandma overdosed and died.
Jesus.
And through a determined family member who she had health problems. So she's 85 years old. She keeled over, looked pretty natural. But her son was a retired officer and said, this isn't right. Something's wrong. We did a test on the blouse she was wearing. She had thrown up, and it was full of the morphine. This grandma was not on morphine. We were able to prove that this girl stole it from the ER, and she killed grandma for checks.
Who needs enemies when you got family?
Yeah.
That proves my point.
I'm never eating there again.
No kidding. Yeah, since we're coming up to the hour mark, so I want to switch gears real quick. Okay, so somebody has gotten in your house, they've stolen some of your stuff. What's a good way that you could either recover your stuff, or what's a helpful way to get your stuff back?
Okay, so if you own anything of value, especially if it's a weapon, a gun, a firearm, make, model, serial number, pictures. You have police officers that don't know a 30-30 from a bolt action. Not every officer is a military veteran, and not every officer is a gun aficionado. You tell them it's a 30-30 lever action, they may or may not know what that is. You say it's the gun that was used in all the Western shows, they probably figured it out. Make, model, serial number. With that information, I can enter it into the nationwide stolen database, and it'll stay in there forever until it's recovered. That is way one. Way two, certain states, and I'm going to pick on West Virginia here because I don't live far from there. West Virginia is maybe 100 miles from where I live. West Virginia pawn shops do not require ID to pawn anything. If you walk in the door and say your name is John Smith, you can pawn stuff. And I have, in fact, recovered stolen property from a construction company I do some work for. It had their name on it, and it was sitting there for sale, and we don't sell generators or power tools. They're ours, they're stolen, and I have recovered them. So looking on the online, any place that guns are publicly sold or property, I have gotten stolen tools advertised on Facebook Marketplace. I got an unmarked company vehicle. I went there. I looked at the item. It still had our equipment number, everything on it. I told the guy, I got to talk to the boss, make sure we can afford this. I left. I went and called the police, brought the officers back, and got my stuff. That is maybe not something everybody should attempt, but people steal stuff typically to sell it. So Marketplace, any sort of a Craigslist, those type of places, any place, maybe just asking around, hey, anybody, anybody been selling a bow lately? You may not have to tell them you had something stolen, but I'm looking for this type of a gun. You know anybody that has one like this? But make, model, and serial, tools, equipment. And how about this? So if you have items of value, maybe not a gun so much, but other items, maybe tools, and you want to do something to that item that if it's found, an officer can contact you based on that tool outside of a serial number. Maybe it doesn't have one. The single best thing to use is your home state driver's license number, not your Social Security. As officers, we cannot get your information from Social Security. But if I put my 8-digit driver's number on a tool and I put PA in front of it, not even my name, most officers looking at that would immediately recognize that Pennsylvania uses an 8-digit number. They can run that number in their car, immediately get my name and my address, even if I have moved, assuming I kept my address current, and they can get a hold of me. This could be power tools. This could be anything. Use your driver's number engraved on items of value for the easiest and quickest way to identify it and get it back.
Man, that's really good information right there. I always just put my last name.
Your last name is well, it's not that common, but it's, I'm sure there's others of you out there. So, but your driver's number is unique to you. It's yours. And if an officer in Oklahoma could run my Pennsylvania 8-digit number and get my information, he can call me up and say, hey, I got a power saw here. This guy that has it's pretty hokey. We think he's, stealing stuff. I'm like, is it a skill saw? And it says PA and my 8-digit number. I'll say, that's mine. That was stolen from me. That's my driver's number here. I'll send you a picture of my driver's license. All states, any officer can do that. Use your common sense. Use your head. Your best self-defense weapon is not a gun. It's not a knife. It's not a club. It's, as Kenny Rogers said, know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah. That's good.
Use common sense and avoid situations when you can, and prepare for others that have yet to come.
Yeah, Andy, thank you so much for coming on, man. I can't, honestly, if you're available, I'd like to have you back on again. We got plenty of other questions, I can tell you right now.
Yeah, I can do that. I got where I am today. I was a public servant. I worked for you as an officer. I was paid by you. I learned a lot by doing what I did. And I feel that I need to return that your investment as a taxpayer. I need to give it back to you in some way, shape, or form. And I'm more than willing to do this.
My prepper brothers and sisters, there you have it. Real talk from a real pro. Big thanks to Andy Blair for dropping truth bombs and tactical wisdom that can be the difference between keeping your preps and losing everything. Because we're not just prepping for the fun of stacking ammo cans and rice buckets. We prep to survive, to defend, to endure. And that means more than collecting gear. It means securing it. Your home isn't just a place to sleep. It's your stronghold, your fallback point, your line in the sand that says, you shall not pass. Start thinking in layers: perimeter, doors, windows, cameras, lighting, locks, mindset, and training. Your security plan should be just as dialed in as your food storage and your bug out plan is. No fluff, no excuses. Think you're ready? Good. Now act on it. Walk your property, run your drills, secure your points of entry, and most importantly, train your mindset to be the weapon that no one sees coming. Stay prepped, stay happy. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Built this thing from the ground up out of nothing. No flight plan, no manual to be found. You and I, we're driving in the dark without headlights, trying to find our way. It's hard telling where we'll be in the coming days, but I'll be there with you. It's hard telling where we'll be in the coming days, but I'll be there with you. I'll be here with you. Built a wall around my heart to stop the bleeding. More words that I should have said to you. And we're walking through the fire and the smoke clouds, trying to find our way. It's hard telling where we'll be in the coming days, but I'll be there with you. It's hard telling where we'll be in the coming days, but I'll be there with you. I'll be here with you. It's hard telling where we'll be in the coming days, but I'll be there with you.